the beginning that you have made.
Until 1948, Tel Aviv was basically a twin city to Jaffa. There was an ever-growing separation between the two cities, but they could not ignore each other. They were competing for space, competing for dominance of the region. And in 1948, all of this changed dramatically. After the war in 1948, Arab Jaffa ceased to be. It was no longer on the map. Tel Aviv became, you might say, a double city. It annexed into its territory the entire territory of Jaffa to the south of Tel Aviv, and it also doubled in size due to the large wave of immigration. So by the early 50s, it was a city of more than 350,000 people. Once again, Tel Aviv called a foreign expert to help it with its planning. And this time, a city planner from Cleveland was brought in. His name was Aaron Horvitz, and he was in charge of creating the master plan for Tel Aviv in the 1950s. Horvitz brought with him new paradigms of planning from the US. For example, the private car was becoming an important factor in the planning of the city, which necessitated a new system of roads bisecting the city. And the idea was that practically all of the neighborhoods in the south of Tel Aviv and in Jaffa should give way to new open spaces, beach parks along the beach. The entire city of Jaffa was to be replaced by a park, by a beach.
We see the rise of a new species of architects, mostly born here, mostly educated here at the Technion in Haifa. It was the only school of architecture. This generation was rebellious against the generation of their fathers. The former generation were all immigrants, and what they did is an international architecture. It was brought here, it was derivative. It had nothing to do with the conditions here, both the physical conditions and the cultural conditions. And they claimed that it did not reflect the newly forming Israeli or Hebrew culture. Their main argument was that this architecture was an architecture covered with what they called white shirts. They wanted architecture that is exposed, raw, very sensual. They wanted to express themselves in the architecture. And the best material to do so for them was the concrete, this kind of sculptural and wet material that really leaves the marks of the process of building. And this new attitude, maybe we should say the new style, was called Brutalism. This was a time of great creativity here in Israel.